Captain Lee walked through the massive halls of the Galactic Council building on Nexus Prime. The alien structure was enormous and made from materials that sparkled like jewels. Strange lights floated in the air without any visible source. Everything was designed to make visitors feel small and unimportant. Lee was not impressed. He had seen many wonders during his journey from Earth, but none of them changed what he came here to do. The human captain wore a simple dark blue uniform with silver buttons. His black hair was cut short and neat. His face showed no fear or excitement as alien guards twice his size led him through corridors filled with beings from dozens of different worlds. The council chamber was a massive dome where representatives from 12 major alien races sat on floating platforms. Each platform hovered at a different height to show the importance of each species. The highest platform belonged to the Vorthak, who controlled most of the galaxy military forces. Their leader, General Thax, was a giant creature with 6 powerful arms and red eyes that glowed in the dim light. Below him sat the Helix trade masters. These snake-like beings controlled all the major shipping routes between star systems. Their bodies were covered in golden scales that caught the light as they moved. Next came the Christine Technology Lords. They looked like walking gems with multiple faces that could turn in any direction. Lee stood in the center of the chamber on a small platform that barely lifted him off the ground. This was meant to show that humans were not important in the galactic order. The alien representatives looked down at him like he was an interesting but harmless pet. High Chancellor Vex spoke first. His voice was deep and echoed through the chamber. The Christine leader had ruled the council for over 300 years. His crystal body pulsed with different colors as he talked. Your species is young and weak, Captain Lee. You have barely learned to travel between stars. Your technology is primitive compared to ours. Your military forces are laughable, but the Council is generous. We offer Earth membership in our Great Alliance. The other Council members made sounds of agreement. Some clicked their claws together. Others hummed in harmony. All of them seemed pleased with this generous offer to the primitive humans. Lee listened carefully as Chancellor Vex continued to explain the terms. Earth would become a mining world. Humans would dig metals and crystals from asteroids. They would grow food for other council worlds. Human ships would carry cargo between systems under alien supervision. In return, the council would protect Earth from pirates and hostile aliens. It sounded reasonable to most species. The council had made similar offers to hundreds of worlds over the centuries. Most civilizations accepted gratefully. Those who refused usually changed their minds after a small demonstration of council military power. But Lee had not come to Nexus Prime to accept this offer. He had studied the council carefully during his journey. He knew that member species had no real freedom. They served the council completely or they were destroyed. There was no middle ground. When Chancellor Vex finished speaking, the chamber fell silent. All eyes turned to the small human standing alone in the center. Lee took a deep breath and spoke in a clear, strong voice. The people of Earth thank the Galactic Council for this offer. We have considered your terms carefully. After much discussion, our leaders have decided that humanity must refuse. We choose to remain independent. The silence in the chamber became even deeper. No species had ever refused council membership before. Some of the alien representatives leaned forward on their platforms. Others made surprised noises. A few began talking quickly to their advisors. General Thax was the first to recover from the shock. The massive Vorthak commander began to laugh. The sound was like thunder rolling across mountains. His 6 arms spread wide as his laughter grew louder and more menacing. Little human, do you understand what you just said? No species refuses the council. You are too small and weak to survive alone in this galaxy. Pirates will raid your world. Hostile aliens will enslave your people. Without our protection, Earth will burn. Lee stood perfectly still as the alien general threatened his home world. He had expected this reaction. Earth leaders knew the council would not accept refusal easily. That was why they had sent him with a very specific message. General, we understand the dangers of independence, but humanity has always chosen freedom over safety. We will defend ourselves against any threat. If the council respects our choice, we can be friends and trading partners. If you try to force us to join, we will resist. This statement caused an uproar in the chamber. Alien representatives began shouting in dozens of different languages. Some demanded immediate military action against Earth. Others wanted to know how such a young species could be so foolish. The noise was tremendous. Chancellor Vex raised one of his crystal arms and the chamber became quiet again. His multiple faces all turned toward Lee. When he spoke, his voice was cold and dangerous. Captain Lee, you do not seem to understand your situation. The Council controls this entire galaxy. We have fleets of warships that number in the thousands. Our weapons can crack planets like eggs. Our armies have conquered civilizations far older and stronger than yours. The Christine leader paused and let his words sink in. Then he continued with what sounded almost like pity in his voice. We offered your species membership because we are merciful, but if Earth insists on independence, we will take your world by force. Your people will serve the Council whether they choose to or not. This is not a threat, Captain. It is simply how things work in this galaxy. Lee nodded as if he understood completely. Then he smiled in a way that made several alien representatives feel uncomfortable. Something about the human expression suggested he knew things they did not. Chancellor Vex, if that is your final decision, then we have nothing more to discuss. I will return to Earth and inform my people of the Council response. They will be disappointed but not surprised. The human captain turned and walked toward the chamber exit. General Thax called after him with amusement in his voice. Tell your people to prepare for invasion, little human. The Council fleet will arrive at Earth in 30 days. Surrender immediately and we will be merciful. Resist and your world will be reduced to radioactive dust. Lee stopped at the chamber doorway and looked back at the assembled alien leaders. His smile had not changed. General Thax, my people have a saying. The tree that does not bend in the storm will break. But some trees are stronger than they look. You will discover which kind Earth is very soon. With those words, Lee left the chamber. The alien representatives watched him go with a mixture of amusement and irritation. They had no idea that the small human had just delivered a declaration of war that would shake the entire galaxy. Back on Earth, Admiral Kim received Lee's diplomatic report through quantum communication. She read his message while standing on the bridge of humanity's greatest secret. The Iron Thunder was hidden behind Earth Moon where no alien sensors could detect it. The massive warship had taken 20 years to build and represented technology the Council had never imagined. Kim looked out at the stars through the bridge viewport. Somewhere out there, alien fleets were already preparing to invade her homeworld. They expected to find a weak young species armed with primitive weapons. Instead, they would discover what happened when humanity was pushed too far. The Admiral turned to her communications officer, Lieutenant Bayek. Send word to all human colonies and military installations. Operation Stormfront is now active. It is time to show the galaxy what Earth is really capable of. 3 weeks after Captain Lee returned from Nexus Prime, the alien war fleet arrived at Earth. 200 Vorthak warships dropped out of hyperspace near Luna in perfect formation. Each vessel was massive and bristling with weapons designed to destroy entire cities. The alien fleet commander, General Thax, stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Doombringer, and stared at the small blue planet that had dared to defy the Galactic Council. The General was pleased with his overwhelming force. 200 warships was enough firepower to conquer most star systems. Against one primitive world with no significant military, it would be like using a sledgehammer to crack an egg. Thax expected the humans to surrender. Immediately when they saw his mighty fleet, the alien commander activated his communications array and sent a signal to Earth. His ugly face appeared on screens across the planet as he delivered his ultimatum. Thax's 6 arms were spread wide to show his power and authority. His red eyes glowed with menace as he spoke. People of Earth, I am General Thax, commander of the Council Enforcement Fleet. Your leaders have made a foolish choice by refusing to join our alliance. Now you will face the consequences of that decision. Surrender immediately and serve the Council willingly and we will spare your cities. Continue to resist and we will turn your entire world into burning ash. The general expected panic and chaos to follow his message. Other species had always begged for mercy when faced with such overwhelming odds. But Earth's response was swift and simple. A single message came back from the human government that made Thax angry beyond belief. We have heard your threats, General. Our answer remains the same as it was on Nexus Prime. Come and try. The alien commander roared with fury. His 6 fists smashed against his command console as rage consumed him. No species had ever shown such disrespect to the Council military. These humans would learn their place through pain and destruction. Thax gave orders for his fleet to advance on Earth orbital defense stations. The alien ships moved forward in tight formation with weapons charging. Energy readings spiked across 200 warships as they prepared to demonstrate Council power. The space around Earth filled with the glow of alien engines and weapon systems, but as the Vorthak fleet approached, something massive began moving from behind. Luna. The alien sensors detected movement but could not identify what was causing it. Thax studied his tactical displays with growing confusion. The readings made no sense. Something huge was accelerating toward his fleet, but it did not match any known ship design. Then the Iron Thunder emerged from behind Earth-Moon, and every alien on every ship stopped what they were doing to stare. The human warship was enormous beyond anything they had ever imagined. It was twice as long as the Vorthak flagship and covered in strange armor that seemed to bend light around it. The massive vessel moved with impossible grace for something so large. General Thax could not speak for several minutes. His tactical officer, a nervous creature with multiple eyes, checked the sensor readings again and again. The numbers had to be wrong. No species could build a warship that size, especially not a young civilization like humanity. Sir, the enemy vessel mass readings are off our charts. The power signatures are unlike anything in our database. I cannot identify their propulsion system or weapon configurations. Thax found his voice again, but it was much quieter than before. How did they hide something that large behind their moon? Why did our intelligence reports make no mention of this vessel? The tactical officer had no answers. Council spies had watched Earth for months before the invasion. They had seen primitive spacecraft and basic orbital installations. Nothing had suggested the humans possessed such advanced technology. On the bridge of the Iron Thunder, Captain Park stood calmly at her command station. Around her, Korean and international crew members worked at control panels designed specifically for human hands and minds. Every system on the massive ship was built using Earth technology and human engineering principles. Park was a veteran commander who had spent her entire career preparing for this moment. She had served on smaller vessels during humanity expansion into the outer solar system. She understood both human capabilities and alien weaknesses better than any other officer in Earth fleet. Lieutenant Bayek monitored the approaching alien ships from the weapons console. The young officer had trained for years on the Iron Thunder systems. He knew every weapon and defensive system on the massive warship better than his own reflection. Captain, all stations report ready for combat. Enemy fleet is maintaining attack formation, but they have reduced speed significantly. Park nodded and studied the tactical display showing alien ship positions. The Vorthak fleet had slowed almost to a stop when they saw the Iron Thunder. Their formation was still organized, but she could see confusion in their movement patterns. Open a channel to the enemy flagship, Lieutenant. Let us give them one final chance to withdraw. The communication system linked the two command bridges across space. General Thax's ugly face appeared on Park main screen while her calm features were transmitted to the alien vessel. The contrast between human composure and alien agitation was stark. This is Captain Park of the human warship Iron Thunder. You have entered our solar system with clear hostile intent. Your weapons are powered and your formation is aggressive. I am giving you one opportunity to leave peacefully. Withdraw your fleet beyond the asteroid belt and no harm will come to your ships or crews. Thax stared at the human woman for several seconds before responding. She looked so small and fragile compared to his powerful alien form. How could such a weak species build such an impressive warship? There had to be some explanation that made sense. One ship against 200, Captain Park. You humans are either incredibly brave or completely insane. Even if your vessel is larger than ours, you cannot possibly defeat an entire fleet. Surrender now and we will show mercy to your crew. Park's expression never changed. She had expected the alien commander to underestimate human capabilities. That was exactly what Earth military planners had counted on. General Thax, you are about to discover which one we are. All human personnel not directly involved in ship operations should secure themselves for combat maneuvers. This is not a drill. The communication channel closed, leaving Thax staring at a blank screen. Around him, his bridge crew waited for orders while trying to understand what they were facing. The human warship hung in space like a metal mountain waiting to see what the aliens would do next. Park turned to address her crew. Every person on the bridge was focused and ready for battle. They had trained for this confrontation their entire lives, and now the moment had finally arrived. All departments report battle readiness. Weapon systems are fully charged and targeting solutions are locked. Defensive screens are at maximum power. Engineering reports all reactors running at optimal levels. Lieutenant Yang at the communications station monitored alien fleet transmissions. The enemy ships were sending frantic messages to each other, trying to coordinate their response to the unexpected human warship. Captain, the alien fleet is requesting reinforcements from their home systems. They are also trying to scan our hull configuration and weapon systems. Our stealth armor is blocking most of their sensor attempts. Park smiled for the first time since the battle began. Everything was proceeding exactly as Earth Military Command had predicted. The aliens were confused and uncertain while human forces held every advantage. Very good, Lieutenant. Let them call for help. The more ships they bring, the better we can demonstrate Earth capabilities to the entire Council. Mr. Beck, are weapons ready for first volley? Yes, Captain. All forward batteries are locked on target. Awaiting your order to fire. Park looked at the tactical display one final time. The alien fleet was spread out in attack formation, but they had not moved closer in several minutes. They were clearly uncertain about how to proceed against such an unexpected opponent. The captain took a deep breath and gave the order that would change galactic history forever. Fire. At will, Mr. Beck. Show them what happens when they threaten Earth. The Vorthak fleet opened fire first. 200 alien warships unleashed everything they had at the Iron Thunder in a massive coordinated barrage. Energy beams that could melt mountains streaked through space. Plasma missiles that had destroyed countless worlds before raced toward the human vessel. The combined firepower was enough to crack a small moon in half. General Thax watched from his flagship bridge as the devastating attack reached its target. He expected to see the human warship torn apart in a brilliant explosion. The alien commander was already planning how to divide up Earth resources among Council members once the planet surrendered. But when the weapons struck the Iron Thunder, something impossible happened. The massive barrage simply vanished as if it had never existed. The human ship defensive shields absorbed every energy beam and deflected every missile without showing any sign of damage. The Iron Thunder continued moving toward the alien fleet as if nothing had happened. On the Vorthak flagship, chaos erupted on the bridge. Tactical officers stared at their instruments in disbelief. Science specialists ran diagnostic tests on their weapon systems. Everyone was trying to understand how their most powerful weapons had been completely useless against the human vessel. Sir, our weapons had no effect at all. The enemy shields are operating on principles we do not understand. The energy from our attack seems to have been redirected somewhere else entirely. General Thax's 6 arms trembled with rage and confusion. The Council had conquered thousands of worlds using those same weapons. No known technology could simply absorb such a massive attack without taking any damage. Fire again. Double the power output. Focus all weapons on their forward sections where the shields might be weakest. The alien fleet unleashed a second barrage even more powerful than the first. This time, they concentrated their fire on specific parts of the human warship, hoping to find weak points in the defensive systems. The space around Earth filled with deadly energy as 200 warships fired everything they had. The result was exactly the same. The Iron Thunder shields absorbed the attack completely, while the massive human vessel continued its steady advance toward the alien formation. Now the enemy ship was close enough for visual identification, and what the aliens saw made them even more confused. The human warship looked nothing like any vessel in Council databases. Instead of the smooth, curved hulls favored by most species, the Iron Thunder was angular and aggressive. Its armor plating was covered in strange patterns that hurt alien eyes to look at directly. Most disturbing of all was the complete lack of visible weapons ports or engine exhausts. Captain Park stood calmly on her bridge watching the alien fleet struggle to understand what they were facing. Around her, the human crew worked with smooth efficiency monitoring ship systems and preparing for their counterattack. Everything was proceeding exactly as Earth military planners had predicted. Lieutenant Cho at the sensor station tracked enemy ship movements and energy signatures. The young officer had studied alien tactics for years and could predict their next moves with remarkable accuracy. Captain, the enemy fleet is trying to surround us. They are spreading their formation wide, hoping to attack from multiple angles simultaneously. Their weapon systems are recharging for another coordinated strike. Park nodded and studied her tactical display. The alien ships were following standard Council military doctrine exactly as expected. They had no idea they were fighting an enemy that had studied their methods for decades and developed specific countermeasures. Ensign Kang, monitor our defensive systems. I want to know the exact energy absorption rate and shield efficiency during their next attack. This data will be valuable for future engagements. Yes, Captain. All defensive systems are operating at peak efficiency. We can absorb approximately 10 times more energy before reaching critical levels. Park smiled at this information. The aliens could fire everything they had for hours without seriously threatening the Iron Thunder. Meanwhile, human weapons had been designed specifically to penetrate Council ship defenses. Mr. Beck, target the 3 lead vessels in their formation. Load armor-piercing rounds in tubes 1 through 6. Prepare to show them what human weapons can do. The Iron Thunder main guns emerged from hidden compartments along the massive hull. These weapons looked completely different from the energy beams that aliens used. Instead of glowing barrels that announced their presence, the human weapons were dark and silent until they fired. Lieutenant Bayek locked targeting solutions on the 3 closest Vorthak cruisers. Each enemy vessel was over 300 meters long and carried enough firepower to level a city. Their shields and armor had protected them through countless battles across the galaxy. All weapons loaded and ready, Captain. Targeting solutions are locked and verified. Firing sequence is prepared and awaiting your command. Park took one last look at the tactical display. The alien fleet was positioning itself for another massive attack, while having no idea what was about to hit them. It was time to demonstrate the difference between Council weapons and human engineering. Fire. The Iron Thunder main guns spoke with a sound like thunder rolling across mountains. But instead of energy beams, the human weapons fired solid projectiles accelerated to incredible speeds by magnetic fields. The rounds were made of dense metal designed to punch through any known armor or shielding system. The first volley crossed the distance between fleets in seconds. 3 Vorthak cruisers took direct hits before their crews even knew they were being fired upon. The results were devastating beyond anything the aliens had ever experienced. The solid rounds punched straight through Council energy shields, as if they did not exist. The projectiles smashed through alien hull armor like it was made of paper. Internal explosions tore the 3 ships apart from inside, as human weapons found fuel lines and ammunition storage areas. All 3 enemy vessels were destroyed in less than 10 seconds. The alien crews had no time to send distress signals or abandon ship. One moment they were alive and fighting, and the next moment they were expanding clouds of debris drifting through space. The surviving ships of the Vorthak fleet stopped firing immediately. Every alien bridge fell silent as crews stared at the wreckage of their comrades. They had just witnessed something that should have been impossible according to everything they knew about space. Warfare. Commander Yex of the Second Battle. Group tried to rally his remaining ships over the fleet communication network. The veteran officer had fought in dozens of campaigns but had never seen weapons like the humans possessed. All ships maintain formation and continue the attack. Focus fire on the enemy vessel main hull. Their weapons may be powerful, but they still have only 1 ship against our entire fleet. But before the aliens could reorganize their attack formation, the Iron Thunder demonstrated another surprise. The massive human warship suddenly began moving faster than should have been possible for something so large. Its strange engines produced a blue glow that hurt alien eyes while accelerating the vessel to combat speeds no Council ship could match. The Iron Thunder dove straight into the middle of the alien formation. Like a predator attacking a flock of birds, human weapons fired from multiple angles as the massive ship moved among the enemy vessels. Each shot was perfectly aimed by computer systems that calculated trajectories faster than any alien mind could. Fellow Vorthak ships tried to maneuver away from the human vessel, but their movements were too slow and predictable. The Iron Thunder seemed to know where each alien ship would be before they moved there. More Council vessels died as human weapons found their targets with deadly precision. General Thax watched in horror as his mighty fleet was torn apart by a single enemy ship. In less than 5 minutes, he had lost over 50 vessels to weapons and tactics he could not understand or counter. The human warship moved through his formation like death itself, while his remaining ships could barely scratch its shields. All ships retreat to minimum safe distance. Send immediate distress signal to Council Command. Request emergency reinforcements and full battle fleet deployment. The surviving Vorthak vessels pulled back from the Iron Thunder while frantically calling for help. They had come to conquer a primitive world, and instead found themselves facing technology that made their own weapons look like toys. Captain Park watched the alien retreat with satisfaction. The first phase of the battle was over. and humanity had proven its point clearly. But she knew this was only the beginning. The Council would not accept such a humiliating defeat without massive retaliation. Lieutenant Yang monitored all enemy communications. I want to know exactly what they are telling their commanders about this engagement. The next wave will be much larger, and we need to be ready for them. Yes, Captain. They are reporting total weapons failure against our defensive systems and unknown human technology that exceeds Council capabilities. They are requesting immediate strategic withdrawal and full fleet deployment for invasion operations. Park nodded grimly. Earth had won the first round, but the real war was just beginning. Inside the Iron Thunder, the Korean crew worked with deadly precision as their ship continued hunting the retreating alien vessels. Lieutenant Cho monitored enemy movements from his sensor station while tracking every ship in the Vorthak fleet. The young officer had spent years studying alien formations and could predict their escape routes with remarkable accuracy. Captain, the remaining enemy ships are trying to reform their battle line at maximum weapons range. They appear to be waiting for something. Long-range sensors are detecting massive hyperspace distortions approaching from the direction of Council space. Captain Park studied her tactical displays while considering the implications. The first alien fleet had been a standard enforcement unit designed to intimidate weak civilizations into surrender. What was coming next would be much more dangerous. How long until the reinforcements arrive, Lieutenant? Approximately 15 minutes, Captain. The energy signatures suggest at least 100 additional vessels, including several heavy battleships. Park nodded and activated the ship-wide communication system. Her voice carried to every section of the massive human warship as she addressed her crew. All departments, this is the captain. We have successfully demonstrated Earth defensive capabilities against the first wave of Council forces. However, long-range sensors indicate significant reinforcements are approaching our position. Prepare for extended combat operations and multiple enemy contact scenarios. Throughout the Iron Thunder, human crew members acknowledged the announcement and continued their work. Everyone knew this battle would determine the fate of their homeworld and possibly the future of humanity. In the Galaxy, Ensign Kang monitored the ship defensive systems while running continuous diagnostics on shield generators and armor plating. The young engineer had designed many of the Iron Thunder protective systems during her years at Earth Naval Academy. Captain, all defensive systems continue operating at peak efficiency. Shield absorption rates remain well below critical levels. Our armor plating shows no signs of stress or damage from enemy weapons fire. Excellent, Ensign. What is the status of our offensive capabilities? All weapon systems are fully operational, Captain. Ammunition levels remain high and targeting computers are functioning perfectly. We are ready for extended engagement with multiple enemy targets. Park smiled as she listened to the reports from her crew. Everything was proceeding exactly as Earth military planners had hoped. But she knew the real test was yet to come. Lieutenant Yang interrupted her thoughts with an urgent communication report. Captain, I am receiving multiple distress signals from the retreating alien vessels. They are reporting catastrophic losses and requesting immediate evacuation support. Several ships appear to be suffering critical system failures. Park considered this information carefully. The psychological impact of their defeat was clearly affecting alien morale throughout the fleet. Demoralized enemies made mistakes, and fighting demoralized enemies was always easier than fighting confident ones. Monitor their communications closely, Lieutenant. Any intelligence about Council reinforcement plans or tactical changes could be valuable. Before Yang could respond, the space around Earth erupted with new hyperspace emergent signatures. Over 100 alien warships materialized in perfect formation, led by several massive battleships that dwarfed even the Iron Thunder. The second wave had arrived. Admiral Hack of the Christine Empire stood on the bridge of her flagship, the Star Crusher, and surveyed the battlefield. The alien commander was shocked to see the wreckage of so many Vorthak vessels floating in space. Intelligence reports had not prepared her for the level of destruction caused by human weapons. The Admiral was one of the most experienced military leaders in the galaxy. She had conquered star systems and destroyed civilizations that had resisted Council authority. But the debris field around Earth suggested she was facing something completely different from previous enemies. Communications officer, connect me with General Thax immediately. I need a full tactical report on human capabilities and weapon systems. General Thax appeared on her main screen looking defeated and confused. The proud Vorthak commander seemed to have aged years in the past hour. His 6 arms hung limply at his sides as he struggled to explain what had happened to his mighty fleet. Admiral, we encountered technology beyond anything in our databases. Their defensive systems absorbed our most powerful weapons without taking any damage. Their offensive capabilities destroyed 50 ships in minutes using projectile weapons that penetrate our shields completely, Admiral. Hawk studied the tactical data streaming from the surviving Vorthak vessels. The numbers made no sense according to everything the Council knew about physics and engineering. How could such a young species develop such advanced technology? What is the current status of the enemy vessel, General? The human ship designated Iron Thunder remains fully operational. It has taken no detectable damage despite concentrated fire from 200 warships. The vessel appears to be waiting for our next move. Hawk considered her options while studying long-range sensor readings of the human warship. Her fleet was 4 times larger than the original Vorthak force and included some of the most powerful vessels in the Council Navy. Surely overwhelming numbers would succeed where the first attack had failed. All ships assume attack formation. Sigma 7, we will surround the enemy vessel and concentrate fire on specific sections until we find weak points in their defenses. Prepare for simultaneous bombardment from all angles. The massive Council fleet began moving into position around the Iron Thunder. Over 150 warships spread out in a complex 3-dimensional formation designed to attack from every possible direction. Admiral Hawk was confident that no defensive system could handle such overwhelming firepower, but Captain Park had been expecting exactly this kind of response. Earth military analysts had studied Council tactics for years and developed countermeasures for every standard formation and strategy. It was time to show the aliens what happened when they faced an enemy that understood their methods better than they did. Lieutenant Cho tracked the enemy formation and predict their final attack positions. I want firing solutions on all vessels the moment they complete their deployment. Yes, Captain. The enemy fleet is moving into a spherical formation with battleships at key positions. They appear to be planning simultaneous attack from multiple vectors. Estimated time to completion is 8 minutes. Park activated her command console and began entering codes that would initialize systems the aliens had never seen before. The Iron Thunder was about to demonstrate capabilities that would change everything the Council thought they knew about warfare. Prepare to implement Protocol 5 on my command. All departments stand by for ship separation sequence. Throughout the Iron Thunder, crew members secured their stations and prepared for one of the most dramatic tactical maneuvers ever attempted in space combat. Protocol 5 was a system that Earth engineers had designed specifically for fighting larger enemy fleets. The alien formation was nearly complete when Captain Park gave the order that would turn the tide of battle. Execute Protocol 5, initiate. Ship separation now. What happened? Next defied everything the Council knew about Starship. Design and construction. The Iron Thunder, which the aliens had assumed was a single massive vessel, suddenly split apart into 5 separate warships. Each section was still larger than most alien vessels and armed with its own complete weapon and defense systems. Admiral Hawk stared at her tactical displays in complete disbelief. Where moments before there had been 1 enemy ship now, there were 5 vessels moving in perfect coordination. Her carefully planned encirclement had suddenly become useless as the human fleet spread out to counter her formation. Impossible. How did they hide 5 ships inside one hull structure? Our sensors showed only a single vessel with standard internal configuration. Her science officer had no explanation for what they were witnessing. Every scanner and analysis system had confirmed that the Iron Thunder was a single ship. The transformation had happened too quickly for any known technology. Admiral, the human vessels are assuming attack formation. Each ship appears to be fully functional with independent weapons and propulsion systems. They are surrounding our fleet in a counter-encirclement maneuver. The 5 human warships moved with perfect precision as they took positions around the alien formation. Captain Park commanded the main vessel, while 4 other Korean officers led the remaining sections. Captain Lim took his ship above the alien fleet. Captain Song positioned his vessel below the enemy formation. Captains Yoon and Han flanked the Council forces from opposite sides. In less than 5 minutes, the tactical situation had completely reversed. The aliens found themselves surrounded by human ships that seemed to anticipate their every move. What had started as a Council trap had become a human hunting ground, Admiral Hack realized she was facing an enemy, unlike anything the Council had encountered before. These humans fought with technology and tactics that made their own capabilities seem primitive in comparison. All ships prepare for immediate attack. Target the nearest human vessels and fire everything we have. We cannot allow them to maintain this tactical advantage. The second battle for Earth was about to begin, and this time the humans held every advantage. The second battle was more brutal than anything the galaxy had ever witnessed. Admiral Hack, commanding over 150 Council warships, found herself fighting 5 human vessels that seemed to predict every move her fleet made. The Christine Admiral had conquered dozens of star systems, but nothing had prepared her for enemies who understood warfare better than the species that had invented it. The 5 human ships moved through the alien formation like dancers performing a deadly ballet. Captain Park coordinated the attack from her command vessel, while the other Korean captains executed maneuvers that seemed impossible. Captain Lim dove his ship through the center of the enemy fleet while firing weapons that cut through alien hulls like hot knives through butter. Captain Song brought his vessel up from below the alien formation and launched missiles that seemed to think for themselves. The projectiles changed direction in flight to hunt specific targets and exploded with devastating effect when they found their marks. 3 Council battleships were destroyed in the first minute of fighting. Meanwhile, Captains Yoon and Han attacked from opposite flanks using coordinated fire patterns that caught the alien ships in devastating crossfires. Their weapons were different from anything the Council had encountered. Gravity bombs that crushed enemy hulls, plasma cutters that sliced through armor plating, electromagnetic pulses that shut down alien systems completely. But the most terrifying aspect of human warfare was their tactics. The aliens fought using formations and strategies that had worked for thousands of years. The humans adapted, constantly changing their approach every few seconds to take advantage of enemy weaknesses. Admiral Hack watched in horror as her mighty fleet was systematically destroyed by just 5 enemy vessels. The human ship seemed to know where each alien vessel would be before it moved there. They turned her own formations against her and used asteroids and debris as cover while picking apart her forces piece by piece. Science officer, why are our weapons having so little effect on their ships? We are hitting them repeatedly but causing minimal damage. Admiral, their defensive systems are beyond our understanding. They appear to be using some form of adaptive shielding that becomes stronger when attacked. Our own weapons are making them more difficult to destroy. This information made Hawk feel sick. The Council had relied on superior firepower to maintain galactic order for millennia. If their weapons were useless against human technology, then everything they had built was in danger. The battle continued for 2 hours as human ships dismantled the alien fleet with surgical precision. Council vessels that had terrorized countless worlds found themselves helpless against enemies